Welcome. I'm Don Micha with Light of Messiah Ministries International, and this is the Messianic Report Media News Magazine. And this is my co-host, Daryl Weinberg. Welcome. What's happening around LOMMI on July 10th, 2009, Daryl?
Well, we have a number of things, Don, to talk about today. We're going to talk about the direction that LOMMI is going in. We're going to be talking about the congregations, both current and future plans, because we do have plans to plant both in Ottawa and Keswick. We want to talk about our Messianic Relief Fund, which helps the believing community in Israel. And we also want to talk about a very exciting two-year program, which just seems to be turning out some really quality people. And, of course, last but not least, our PAR, which we will get to in a moment.
PAR. I hope we are PAR today.
We are PAR today,
yes.
Indeed.
Well, by staying the course, in reaching Israel's remnant, we believe that God is going to bless this work and to bless those who are a part of this work. We're reaching out with the good news of Yeshua, that he is the Messiah, that he's come and that he's coming again. And we have an opportunity to reach a lot of Jewish people with this message. And as we deliver this message, Daryl, we also reach a lot of other people, don't we?
We do indeed. It is amazing that just as Shaul took the gospel to the Jew first, as he would go to the synagogues, and then went to the Gentile world, from a Hebraic cultural context, the gospel spread across the entire known world within a century.
And we note that when the gospel is given in a Western mindset context, that non-Jews get saved, Gentiles get saved. But when it's delivered in a Jewish context or a biblical Jewish background type of context, all people are saved. Gentiles understand the message too, and they also like to grasp onto their Jewish roots, don't they?
They do, because it has a lot more substance and meaning. After all, God did choose the nation of Israel to reveal himself to the world through. And so, unfortunately, a lot of what the church says today is Jewish is, in fact, biblical.
That's right. And the apostles said it well in Acts 15. They said that Moses has those who preach him in every city on the Shabbat. And this has been done from ancient times. And we know that that type of teaching comes through the planting of congregations. And that's what Shaul did when he went into the world. He went out into the Roman Greco world and he stopped at Jewish synagogues and he gave the message of Messiah. And that's what we do. And we have planted congregations in Canada and in the United States. And presently in Canada, we have congregations in Toronto, Ontario, London, Ontario, led by Eugene Bannock, and in Nova Scotia, in Halifax, the city of Halifax there with Elmer Grove. We have some in the States too, don't we, Daryl?
We certainly do. We have actually 3 congregations all down in California. One in Torrance, which is in the south of L.A., one in Anaheim, which is in eastern L.A., right by Disneyland, as a matter
Disney,
of fact.
That's right.
And in Phelan, California, way out in the desert.
That's in the high desert out there beyond the San Bernardino Mountains. Well, LOMMI also has offices in Cleveland, Ohio, and in Jerusalem in Israel. And in the coming years, we look forward to reaching many people in these locations. And we also will be discussing how as a congregation planting organization, we not just plant congregations, but we build biblical Messianic communities.
Well, the congregation is really the center of the community, because once people get saved, they need a place to congregate and come to worship. But that's just a simple place for people to gather, and what they learn in the congregation will then take itself out into the community as we try to reach more people.
And today we see that the Messianic community is sprawled out amongst the different cities and nations in the world, and it's not very tight-knit. But we look forward to building unity and building a tighter-knit Messianic community through the planting of these congregations and the technology that we have in spreading the good news. We also need to remember that congregations must be built on biblical principles. And when these biblical principles are taught, individuals will then express biblical behavior. And today in this world, people are tossed to and fro with their busy schedules and all the different things going on in life. And I think that we need these sound congregations with this type of principle, biblical principles being taught.
We live in the most frenetic time in the history of humankind, and the average person gets hit with over 3,000 messages a day through media and everything else. And so I think what we need to encourage people to do is to take a step back and be still and know that God is still God, because his truth is everlasting. And when we begin to focus again on his word and take the time to just put aside the busyness of our schedule, I think God will be able to speak to us just as He did with our ancestors.
And that begins with getting plugged into a local community or a congregation that suits your needs and lines up with your vision and values and your theology. And we're on the course right now to be planting a couple more congregations through Light of Messiah Ministries International. And we are beginning through our media capabilities here to have support groups in many different areas. And you were just in Ottawa.
I was, and there was just a tremendous amount of excitement. We've got some people over there who have been watching us online for quite a few months now, and they've really begun to grasp hold of the theology and the principles and the values that we have. And so when I went over there on vacation, no less, had a Bible study, and just the amount of excitement and enthusiasm that we have. And Ottawa is a very, very strategic place because it is the capital of Canada. And just as physical decisions are made there, so are spiritual decisions. And for us to have a presence there, I found out that there are 8 mosques now being built in the city of Ottawa.
That's incredible.
So we need to have a presence there to shine the light of Messiah there as well.
Well, in the planting of congregations, we know that strategic places such as Ottawa are on our radar. So pray for us as we continue to sow the good news there in Ottawa, and pray for those who are coming together in an LOMMI satellite group that they might be able to step out into the community and shine a bright light. Amen. Now, we also have another work beginning in Keswick, don't we, Daryl?
Keswick of all places. It's about an hour north of Toronto.
Can anything good come out of Keswick?
Well, apparently so, Don. Apparently so. We have a couple who've been fellowshipping with us over the past couple of years, and they've had an excitement to start a work up in their area because it just seems there's a lot more Jews up in Keswick than we'd anticipated, and one of our workers just seems to attract them all. So we need to have a presence up there as well.
Well, this couple who are in Keswick are also part of our 2-year program.
They are.
And our 2-year program is designed to help you interact with the Jewish community by understanding their background through history and their culture and religious understandings and beliefs, and also how the New Covenant is tied deeply into those roots and how we have a capability to reach these individuals with commonality. The basis for our faith and the basis for the structure of their community. Isn't that correct, Daryl?
Absolutely, Don. It's tremendous the amount of response that we get. Even when I was in Ottawa and I did a church meeting and I talked about the need to get back to our Hebraic roots, the excitement was just so overwhelming after the message that it was like these people had been poured with cold, fresh water on them.
And that's exciting to see because we see people growing, and as they grow in their faith, they get excited and they want to share that faith. And if you're outside of the local Toronto area where we are, and you wish to connect, you can tune in and watch our broadcast throughout the week, and maybe you too can start a satellite group. And if you want information on our 2-year program, you can contact us at info@messianicreport.com.